just being a leader, it's hard because you can't always like act how you feel. And so you have to remember that like if you act a certain way, the rest of your team's gonna act a certain way because they're following you. So it's like you have to, you know, be that role model for your teammates.
Of course, you know, we got to talk about the buzzer beater, the half court shot that you had. Walk me through it. Just walk me through it.
Honestly, I remember the free throw, and we talked about it the next day at practice. Nate said that he told me to foul.
Okay.
But I didn't foul because I didn't know he said that. I don't know. I don't even remember looking at him and him saying anything to me. But I remember I had picked up, and I remember getting hit by the screen, and I'm like, oh, I messed up. Like, I just got hit by a screen all the way out here. And then I'm like, well, she's surely not going to, like, she's just jacking it up. There's no way she makes it. And then she banks it in. And I just remember looking up at the clock, and Sam got the ball out quick, and everyone else just took off. And then I'm expecting, like, somebody to pick me up, and no one picked me up.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, the game's tied. Like, the worst that you can do is miss, and we go into overtime. And then I just shot it.
Arkansas, no timeout. Here comes Daniels for the three, and she makes it in!
And it just went in.
Yep. When it released, I was like, ooh, that like, it looks kind of good. But I'm like, you know, don't get excited until it goes through.
So when it did go through, what was the celebration like with the teammates?
I really don't remember. I remember I ran, and then someone picked me up, and then we all fell. I do not remember who it was or how it happened, but I just remember like after my head was hurting so bad, I had rolled my ankle, and I didn't feel it until like 20 minutes after the game, and I was like, I think I messed my ankle up.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a good experience. I mean, not everyone gets to say that happened to them, so it's something that I probably will never forget.
Do you practice half court shots or something, or was that just a fluke?
For me, it was probably a fluke, but we do half court shots like every game day, but I always shoot from the middle. I've never shot from the side. And so I was just like, that's crazy that's where I make it from, and I've never practiced shooting it from the side.
Man, well, it was an insane moment. I remember that. That was pretty awesome.
Gerard pulls up, banks it in, and ties it up. No timeouts. Here comes Daniels for the three.
The buzzer beater is now part of a Sports Center ESPN commercial. You know, what was that moment like when you saw it for the first time?
When I first saw it, I was actually watching, I don't know what men's game I was watching, honestly. But it was on ESPN, and the commercial came on, and it was like, the first time I saw it, it was a commercial with a whole bunch of different sports. It's the first time I seen it. And I had my TV on mute. And so I had just happened to look up, and I saw it. And so I tried to call my mom, and she didn't answer. I tried to call my dad, he didn't answer. And so then my mom calls me back, and I'm like, well, you missed it. Like, I was on a commercial on ESPN. And she was like, no, you weren't. And I was like, I swear I was. And then a few days later, we were watching another game, and my parents were watching it at their house. And then I saw it again, and they called me, and I was like, see, I told you. Like, they didn't believe that I had really been on it. They thought I was just joking. But, I mean, it felt good. And then, you know, I had got a whole bunch of texts, and people text me like, did you see the commercial? Did you see the commercial? And I was like, yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
I saw.
Well, I mean, it was on Sports Center for a while, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did you get your phone blowing up?
Yeah, after that game, I just sat it down for a while because, like, every time I respond or something, it would be a new one. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get through all these tonight. I just respond when I can.
Gotta love the support, though.
Yeah, I definitely love it. I appreciate it a lot.
I know that you grew up in a military family. What was your childhood like?
I mean, we traveled a lot. Like in the summers, we would travel a lot. We would always come back to the States each summer to see our family and friends. But I mean, I was very disciplined. It wasn't too much of acting out and, you know, getting what I want. Like, I was spoiled, but it was not to the extent of someone who, you know, didn't grow up in a military family. But, I mean, we had a lot of great experiences. Like, I'm really grateful that I got to travel to places that some adults haven't even been able to travel to at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that popped out on your bio is that you lived in Japan for 7 years. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. I always wanted to go back. We were going to go back for the Olympics, but COVID happened, and so it was kind of like, probably not. But It was amazing. If I could go back, I would definitely go back.
What was school and stuff like over there? I mean, did you get to?
I went to school on base, so like it was just like, you know, the school's here, but a lot of people that like lived in our neighborhood, they kind of went to a Japanese school, and so some of them like literally spoke fluent Japanese, and like they would almost forget how to speak English. But I mean, I personally didn't want to go to Japanese school, but I mean, the schools were pretty normal. The only thing that was different for me was like the school lunches.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like cooked food there, like not frozen and stuff. But that was the biggest difference in like school wise there.
Okay. Well, so you didn't pick up Japanese, the language?
No, I did. But
you did?
Now, yeah, we had to take a class each year, but I do not remember barely anything now.
So what was it your dad that was involved with the military or your mom? What was
both were. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what did they do?
Human resources. Both were human resources.
Nice. So are they still involved with it?
They are. They both retired from the military, but they both still work at Fort Detrick in Maryland for the government. So
are they really strict with you still, or are they kind of
not
let
at all? I got the less strict side of them from my whole childhood. My siblings could probably have a totally different story, but they were less strict, but I also didn't. I saw what my siblings did, and I was like, I'm not going to do that if that's going to get me yelled at or in trouble. So
are you still a really structured person, like your schedule, or is that kind of different now?
I would say yes. This year was my first year doing like all online classes because I'm in a master's program, and I started rough because there was no structure, and it's like you just do the work like whenever you do it, just before the due date. And I was like, I told Miss Timisha, I was like, I can't do this no schedule. I was like, you need to schedule me to come in to the JC at least twice a week, and so I can just do the work, because if you just let me do it whenever, I'm not gonna be able to do it.
So where else did you end up moving to? Do you remember how many places?
I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and then we moved to Arizona for a little, and then Japan, and then to Maryland.
Okay, so Fayetteville, North Carolina is home to you, or where would you call home?
Maryland.
Maryland,
okay. Yeah. I don't really remember Fayetteville at all, but I don't think I've ever even been back since I was born.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, so was it kind of hard building friendships moving around so often?
No, I mean, because I was young, probably for my siblings it was probably harder, but because I was young, you know, every little kid's friendly. But when I came here, I mean, I didn't really have problems because I was already involved in sports and, you know, the kids you go to school with every day and live in your neighborhood.
Yeah, that's true. So what about sports? How did you get into it, and where did it start?
I don't really think I had a choice but to play sports. Everyone in my family played sports, but I remember being sent to golf camp one summer in Japan and hated it.
Yeah.
Cried every day, did not want to be there, but my parents were like, we have to like try different stuff. You can't just try one thing and then just think you're going to take that everywhere. But I played soccer, mostly younger, and I really loved soccer, and I only liked it because I was the fastest. I just kicked it and ran after it. And then I didn't start playing basketball till like 3rd grade, and my mom was my coach, and it was not a good duo. It was not a good duo.
I was gonna get like sentimental with you on that, but it didn't go that way.
Again. I don't think she's coached since then. But and my dad coached my older siblings, but he never coached me because we would just butt heads the whole time. But I played basketball and soccer at one point, and then when we moved to the States, I started playing basketball, and then I started playing with boys teams and playing AAU, and then I tried playing both, but I was on a club soccer team, and like with club soccer you really have to be committed, you have to put in the work, and I was just like, I don't really want to do that. Like I don't love it that much. So I kind of started just moving towards just basketball, and then
So when was it that you were like, you know what, basketball can actually take me places?
Honestly, it probably wasn't until like 9th grade. Like, I knew I was good, but it's like, you're good in your city. That doesn't always automatically mean like you're good around the world or whatever. But probably around 9th grade, like when I started getting interest from schools, I was like, wow, like, you know, I could really go play at the next level. Like the things I see on TV, I could be doing that one day. Yeah,
I mean, looking at your stats from high school, you were extremely talented. I mean, you were the highest scorer among girls or boys in your high school. What was the experience like playing there?
I loved my experience. I met some of my best friends on my high school team, had some great coaches, and we were able to win 3 state championships. But I mean, in my freshman year, we had a chance to win it and we didn't. But I just think I learned so much, and like a lot of the stuff that I do here today is because of my high school coaches and my high school teammates and everything they've taught me. So I think I just had a really good foundation in high school, and it was like, it didn't matter if you were the best player or the worst player, we were all treated the same. And so I was held accountable just as, the 12th person on the team, and they really didn't matter who you were. But I really like enjoyed playing with those girls, and a lot of them are my lifelong friends.
Was there a coach or like a person around that time that really kind of helped mold you into the player that you are now?
I'll probably say my head coach in high school, and then the athletic director, and just kind of every coach that was like an assistant coach or came through and helped us, my trainers. I think they were all like a really important piece, because I think they all knew I wanted to get to the next level, but it was just about like learning how to put in that work, because obviously you have to lift, you have to condition, and like you can't just only work on basketball the whole time. You have to learn a healthy diet and stuff like that. So I think everybody played a really big role in that.
When did your parents start to get on board with you just honing in on one sport? I know you mentioned how they wanted you to try a couple things.
It was probably 6th or 7th. I think that's when I stopped playing soccer, just because it was kind of being like, okay, well, now you have two different practices at the same time. Like, you're going to miss one, and it's like, I would always choose basketball. So I think they kind of knew I liked basketball more. And I'm sure my mom would say she wanted me to pick basketball because obviously soccer, you're outside. You don't know what the weather's going to be like. And so, yeah, I think she's glad I picked the indoor sport.
Indoors is nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. What was the recruiting process like? When did you start hearing from schools? I
would say like 8th going into 9th grade probably. I did not like the recruiting process at all.
No?
I
Why
hated
not?
talking on the phone. I hated having to meet them. My dad used to have to force me to sit down like once a week and call the coaches, and it was just like, because if you don't like set those boundaries, sometimes it's like they're calling you at different times, and it's like
it's probably a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff to do, and through practice, school, and whatever. But we would sit down once a week and call the coaches, and I can remember I would really like hope that they wouldn't answer so I could just be done. But I mean, I had a really good experience. I didn't have a bad experience. It was just at that time I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just like, you know what? I'll just wait. We can do it another time. But I had a really good experience, especially with Arkansas. So
when you heard from Arkansas, what was that first conversation like?
Well, it was with Coach Lacey first, and I had already knew her from her previous school, but I mean, she knew I didn't want to talk, so she talked to my parents, and then I think we had set up a call with Nabes, and I think she had, briefed him like she's probably not going to say much, but she is interested. So I don't think we were on the phone for more than 5 minutes, and then from there we went on setting up a visit, and I think they just wanted to like check my grades and stuff, and they came out and watched me play.
Tell me about the visit. What was your first time at Arkansas like?
I honestly was very skeptical about the visit because I knew nothing about Arkansas, and I was like, I think I've been here once when I was younger with my cousins, but we went to a farm, and so I assumed that's what it was here, it's farms.
Tumbleweeds and everything.
And so I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but we're gonna try. And I came out here, I came to elite camp, and it was probably the best experience I had in camp. Usually in the camps, it's like, it feels like a business, like they're just here, to see certain people, but I felt like everybody in that camp that day learned something, and the coaches were coaching us how they would coach their players. And so it was like you get to actually see like how you could fit into the program. I just want to thank God first, and I would like to thank my parents because without them, none of this would be possible. I would like to also thank my trainers and my friends and family and my coaches. And that's all.
And so you spoke with Lacey first. Was she kind of your point of contact? Did you feel really comfortable talking to her?
Yeah, definitely. Well, she knew. She would reach out to my parents, so she knew. But yeah, I think that was like who I was most comfortable with.
Yeah. What about Nabes? When did you start to warm up to him?
Honestly, probably not until like after my freshman year. I just did not I was so intimidated by the fact of like going up to his office and talking to him. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm not going up there. I'd rather just keep the question to myself. You could not convince me my freshman year to go up there and talk. I remember when I first got here, everybody thought something was wrong. I wasn't happy because I didn't come out of my dorm unless it was to work out. And they were like, are you okay? Are you eating? And I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. It's just, you know, I don't like to be a bother to people. And like, I was just like, this is my first time living on my own. Like, I'm happy just being alone here, peaceful.
So you were just more of a timid kind of person. How did that change after your freshman year and, you know, you started to kind of settle into life here?
I think just they let you be yourself. No one was like, oh, well, you got to talk, you got to do this. It was like, when you're ready, you'll be more comfortable, you'll be more of a vocal leader. And so I think them just making me comfortable enough to be myself, it was kind of like, well, it doesn't really matter who you are, they're going to accept it.
Bring up butterflies a little bit.
Tell me about Nabes. He's always such a character.
He is. I think he's just someone that's like, he's, like I said, easy to talk to.
Yeah.
No matter what you have to talk to him about. I mean, he's a player's coach, and he's going to do what his players are most comfortable with. He doesn't ask me to go get 20 rebounds a game. Like, that's not what they brought me here to do. He wants us to be good at, like, what we're good at. He's not asking us to rely on our weaknesses to win a game. But I think he gives us, like, the opportunity to decide how we want to leave a legacy here. And if you know, just want to, you know, cruise through, then you can do that here. But if you want to, you know, leave a legacy, you can also do that. So I think he just, like, really allows us to take control of, like, what our end goal is. I don't think I could have asked for a better coach, a more understanding coach. I think, especially with mental health, he gives us mental health days, and it, like, no questions asked. It's not about, like, oh, well, he doesn't decide, well, I don't think you should take that day. It's you tell him you need a day, you get to take that day. So I think that's really important, especially for young women as being our age and just going through life, trying to figure stuff out. But I really appreciate him and just his coaching style. We play freely. There's not really, you have to go A, B, C to get to D. You can go A, C, whatever you want, as long as you get to D.
That's incredible. I didn't realize that he did the mental health days too. Has that always been something that he's done, or is that relatively new?
I think it's always been there, but he's just been more vocal about it. Like, because a lot of times when something is there, but it's like, well, I don't want to be the first one to, you know, say something. But I think he's trying to make us more comfortable in, like, being honest with him and, like, today, coach, I literally just can't, like, if I'm here, I'm not going to be here. So it's like, it's better off that I'm just, you know, not at practice.
So practices, though, what are they like with him? Is he intense? Is he trying to just kind of have fun with you guys?
I wouldn't say he's trying to have fun, but he's also not, like, intense. I think our most intense coach is Coach Todd. Like, Coach Todd's here and Nate's is here on the intensity level. But, I mean, sometimes he tries to get us fired up and things, but even in practice, it's never like he's yelling because we messed up. It's never like that. It's like, okay, you messed up. This is what you could do. Like, next possession, let's fix it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, so, I mean, he is such a kind, like, welcoming guy. And I know he invites you guys over to his house sometimes for, like, different get-togethers.
Yeah.
When you think about, like, where you could have ended up, how happy are you that you got a coach like Nabes?
Definitely. I lucked out. Lucked out. But, I mean, we always have a good time when we go over there, especially with the babies now.
Oh, yeah.
Each person just takes a turn playing with them. They never get tired. You know, they're up past bedtime, but I'm sure they love that we're riling them up before bedtime. But, I mean, it's just like, I think I could say any day of the week, hey, coach, can we have a get-together at your house? And the answer would be yes. I don't ever think it would be no. But I think that's just really important as a team to know, like, that's kind of our safe house. Like, when we go to Nabe's house, no matter what, like, even after Vandy, we, you know, a loss that we thought we could have won, and we went to his house, and it was just like, we kind of rebooted. We ate, played games, and just had a really good time.
Do you have any funny stories about Nabes that you can actually tell us?
The only thing that, and he hasn't really done it this year, which I'm surprised, is like, he trips a lot.
Does he really?
And it's a certain pair of shoes, and I always used to catch him in the past shoes, but this year, I don't know if he hasn't tripped or I just haven't caught him, but he trips so much, and it'll be like at the worst moments, and I'll try to hold it in, and he just knows I'm already laughing at him.
The fact that I haven't seen him trip yet, though, I'm going to be watching for this because
it's these certain Air Maxes that he wears that always make him trip.
Well, I messed with him one time when we were at media days, and he had his laces untied, and I guess that's how you're technically supposed to wear them. Is that part of it, or is it just him, he can't walk in those shoes?
Honestly, I have no clue. I have no clue about his Jordans. He probably likes them a certain way.
Yeah, that's probably true. He is a big sneaker buff.
He is, definitely. Yep.
Let's talk about some of the people that you've played with at Arkansas. You've had the opportunity to play with Chelsea Dungy, you played with Jalen Mason for a while, Amber Ramirez. How did some of those girls make an impact on you?
I think each one of them made a different impact on me. I think I took like one thing from each of those players and like try to use it like to better myself, just because like everyone has good and bad traits, but like I want to use those good traits and just kind of like keep it going throughout our program. Like we want that Chelsea Dungy attitude. Like nobody can guard me. Like we need that. We need Jalen Mason's leadership. We need, somebody to have the confidence of Amber to shoot the ball. So I think just like them passing that on and instilling that confidence in me. And a lot of the time my freshman year, I didn't want to ask coaches questions. So I would go ask them questions before or after practice, during, and none of them ever frustrated that I'm asking questions. They would always help me. And I just think they also were a big part of me becoming comfortable here.
Do you feel like you can now return the favor to some of the younger players on the team?
Definitely,
as well?
I definitely do. Because a lot of the times, someone might ask you a question, you're like, well, I don't really know the answer. And like I did that a lot last year. And this year I feel like now I'm able to answer those questions and like confidently say like, no, this is the right answer, instead of like, well, this might be the right answer, but you might want to ask Coach Todd. So this year I think I'm definitely able to answer those questions.
So you're the vocal leader now. Mm-hmm. Is that still odd to you at all, or are you fully settled into it?
It's very odd to me. It's just like me of all people, but I mean, it's kind of like I don't really have a choice. And it's like if I want to win, then I got to do what the team needs, and that is my end goal, is I want to win. So if that takes me, talking for I don't know how long, then I'm just going to have to do it.
More year, you guys had that huge win against UConn. Mm-hmm. What do you remember about that game?
I remember being nervous because it's UConn.
Yeah.
That was probably the most nervous I was, just being a young girl looking up. Like UConn was my favorite team. Mm-hmm. I knew everything about UConn. I knew all the players. Went to the games, but it was just like a full circle moment because obviously Saylor had just got to UConn, mm-hmm. and growing up, me and her were both really big UConn fans, Maya Moore fans, and so just playing together, it was just like a really full circle moment. Like she was there, we're playing against them. But I mean, I remember being nervous, and then that's when I think 8 players were out with COVID protocols, and so we came in a shoot around like wondering where everyone was at, and then we realized like that's why they weren't here, and we were like, well, like. And I don't think anyone was like, well, we can't win. I think we were just like, this would happen to us like on today, like of all days. And so like, it meant a lot. And it really sucked. Like after the game, it was like 5 or 6 of us in the locker room. There was no one to celebrate with. So everybody just kind of went home, and the next day we celebrated. But,
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and I think some of them were false positives. So the next day, most of them came back. But yeah, I mean, it was a really fun experience, and not a lot of people can say they beat UConn. So.
Right, mm-hmm. And in that same season, you guys ended up playing in the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. That was your first time playing in the tournament as well.
Yeah.
How cool was that for you?
It was very cool. Growing up, I went to the tournaments, the Final Fours with my mom, and just like being able to live that out is just like a really big deal to me, because like my parents sacrificed so much just to give me that experience. Like it's not cheap to go to those tournaments, and just like kind of gave me the opportunity to dream that big.
So when you look back at your time at Arkansas, just what would you say about the journey that you've had over the past several years?
I would say I probably had like one of the best journeys that I could have asked for being here. I think I was pushed to be uncomfortable in a lot of like situations, meaning like in life and academically in basketball. I think that I don't think I would have grew more than I have here anywhere else. I had the opportunity to go to a lot of conferences this past year with some for just academics, and like get out there and kind of network. I think in basketball I played with some of the best players I could have played with, and I think this style of basketball fits me. And just like building those relationships with coaches, like I know when I graduate here, I want to come back and like see my coaches 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And so I think I built lifelong relationships here. You
graduated technically in 3 years, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In what? What was the degree for?
Recreation and sports management.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But to do it in 3 years though.
Yeah.
How did you do that and juggle basketball?
I had set that goal when I had first got out of high school, because I graduated in the day after I had to come here. And so I was like, that's what I wanted to do, but I was like, I wasn't very optimistic that it was going to happen. I'm like, this is college, like it's a different ballgame than high school. But really, it was like just taking summer classes what really got me ahead. And then actually towards the end, it was probably like one of my hardest semesters because it's like you're so close, yet you're so far, and it's just really hard to finish it out. But I mean, I just like thank my academic advisors because some days I'd be like, let's just drop the class. I don't even want to do it anymore. And they're like, no, you got it. Like, you're so close. Like, you can do it.
How supportive has your family been throughout, your time at Arkansas? Have they been able to make it to games?
Yes, they've been very supportive. I think they've probably missed all of 5 or 6 games since I've been in college.
Oh, wow.
My freshman and sophomore year, they kind of missed some games, but since last year, I think they were at all games, and then this year they were at all the games. Even when I was hurt, I think my mom still came. My dad had to go back to work, but they've probably missed no more than 5 games in my career, home or away.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So how grateful are you for the support that they've shown you?
I'm very grateful. I know my mom probably thinks that I'm not because I have a 2-bedroom apartment, and so they just stay with me, and I'm like, you guys are here again? Like, I like my alone time. But I'm very grateful because, not everybody gets to say that their parents are in the stands at every game just because their parents might live far overseas or whatever it is. But not everybody can say that, my parents got to watch me play my whole college career.
Yeah. Well, that college career is kind of winding down a little bit. What's this season been like for you so far, though?
It's had a lot of ups and downs, I think. I think this is probably, besides my freshman year, the most up and down year I've had personally. But I think that like I've grown the most this year. Like I've matured a lot. I've held myself accountable a lot more this year, and just being a leader, it's hard because you can't always like act how you feel. And so you have to remember that like if you act a certain way, the rest of your team's gonna act a certain way because they're following you. So it's like you have to, be that role model for your teammates.
So when you look back on your time at Arkansas, what do you hope that fans will remember about you and the way that you played?
I think that I hope they just remember like my passion for the game, and that like every time I stepped out on the court, I played hard. I was kind of someone who just gave the team energy, and I mean, I hope that they could tell that like I enjoyed it here. I'm having fun when I'm out on the court with my team, and I hope that when I come back, maybe I'll be on the scout team or something for Naves and Coach Todd some days. But I'm sure by the time I come back, I'll be like, no, I can't go no more.
No, I think it'd be great if you were on the scout team. That would be fun.
I'm sure I would talk trash, definitely.
So, and then just one more thing, just what is the impact that this program, the people you've met, what is the impact that they've had on you specifically?
I would say like making me more open-minded. When you grow up a certain way, it's kind of just like that's the only way you know. But you come here to college and it's like you meet so many different people from different walks of life, and it's like, wow, well, you can still get to this position by doing something different. And so I think I've become a lot more open-minded since I've been here, and like my way is not the only way things can be done. It can be done different ways as long as it gets done.